Hi everyone, this is Mills Family Gardening. My name is Dina, and in this video we're going to grow peppers from seed. We live in North Texas Zone 8A. On January 1st, we started pepper seeds by using organic container mix that we made moist before we filled up our seedling trays. I made holes about 1/4 of an inch deep and used 4 to 5 seeds per each hole to make sure that at least one seedling would emerge. I kept the seedling tray inside of the house under a grow light that was 17 hours on and 7 hours off. That way I didn't need to use any seedling mat. The grow light kept the soil warm. And pepper seeds take a long time to germinate, up to 2 weeks, so be patient with your seeds. This was on January 15th and our seedlings sprouted. They look strong and healthy. You can see that some of the seeds did not sprout, and that's okay. It happens sometimes. And for that, you can simply divide the seedlings that didn't sprout and plant them in empty cells. Our seedlings got larger and it was time to transplant them into larger containers. I filled up 1/3 of the container with organic container mix and put the seedling with roots on the bottom of that container and filled up the rest of it with organic potting soil. Always make sure your soil is moist. It's much easier to work with it when it's moist. On February 11th, we thinned out our seedlings by keeping the strongest and largest seedlings in the containers and removing the smallest and thinnest and sickly looking seedlings. On March 5th, it was time to harden off our seedlings. For that, I moved them outside to a place that was getting dappled sun all day long. That way, I could keep the seedlings outside the whole time. I didn't have to move them out in the sun and then back into the house and out in the sun again. It saved me time and energy. Also, I made sure the temperature outside stayed above 35 degrees all that week during the hardening off process. And on the nights when the temperature went below 35 degrees Fahrenheit, I would bring the seedlings inside of the garage or inside of the house, and then whenever it warmed up, I would take them outside again. On April 3rd, my daughter helped me spread organic container mix in the raised bed where we're gonna plant our pepper plants. You probably noticed by now that we like to use that organic container mix for our seedlings, and in our raised beds, it's really good quality and grows really healthy and strong plants. On the same day, we planted our pepper plants in our raised bed by digging a small hole, and then we put all-purpose fertilizer in each hole and then planted our pepper plants in there. We also made sure to remove all the yellow leaves because those don't contribute to the health of the plant. We decided to plant one of our pepper plants in a container. We filled up that container with our homemade compost, then added some llama manure and put more homemade compost on top, and then filled the rest of the container with organic container mix. And then we made a hole in that container, and my daughter planted the pepper plant at the same depth that it was in the seedling container. And of course, we watered the container and made sure the soil was moist. And here's the overall view of all our pepper plants that we planted in our raised bed. On May 9th, we already had a lot of flowers and also a few peppers formed on our pepper plants. Our spring was not super hot and the peppers really enjoyed that cooler weather. Here's our purple bell peppers, golden marconi, and also sweet banana peppers. Later in the season, the sun was getting hotter, and you can notice that some of our peppers started getting some sunburn. And also the soil in our raised bed was getting dry so much faster that I had to install drip irrigation. On June 12th, our pepper plants got much taller and started falling over from all the rains that we got. So I decided to put a stake and tie those pepper plants to the stake so that the plants would be tall and straight. This is the pepper plant that we planted in the container. The variety is called Joe E. Parker, and I highly recommend this variety. It produced really beautiful peppers for us. This was on July 3rd, and you can see that our peppers ripened and some of them even got soft. And that means that the peppers are in the stage when you can harvest seeds from them and store them for next year. To harvest seeds, you can simply remove the pepper from the plant, split it open, and collect all the seeds. You need to keep the seeds on a countertop to make sure they're completely dry before you put them in a bag or any container you use to store your seeds in. By July 15th, our summer was so hot, I decided to set up a shade cloth. This is a 40% shade cloth. And after that, our peppers were doing much better, but they were still in a survival mode. They hardly produced anything, but my goal was to keep them alive until cooler temperatures arrived in the fall. And since our peppers were in a dormant state, not producing any fruit, I decided to trim the tops to about 1 foot from the ground, and the peppers stayed like that until it cooled down in the fall, and we got the second smaller harvest. And that's how we grow our peppers. If you like this video, would really appreciate it if you could like it and subscribe to our channel. Thank you so much for watching this video, and happy gardening!